Second Kings chapter 3, stories of Elijah and Joram. Reign of Joram of Israel. Joram, son of Ahab, became king over Israel and Samaria in the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and he reigned 12 years. He did what was evil in the father's sight, though not like his father and mother. He did away with the pillar of Baal that his father had made, but he still held fast unceasingly to the sins which Jeroboam, son of Nebat, caused Israel to commit. War against Moab. Drought. Now Mesha, king of Moab, who raised sheep, used to pay the king of Israel as tribute 100,000 lambs and the wool of 100,000 rams. But when Ahab died, the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. King Joram set out from Samaria and mustered all Israel. Then he sent Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, the message, "The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you come with me to Moab to fight?" He replied, "I will. You and I are as one. Your people are my people, and your horses and my horses as well." He said, "By what route shall we attack?" And the other said, "By way of the wilderness of Edom." So the king of Israel set out, accompanied by the king of Judah and the king of Edom. After a roundabout journey of 7 days, the water gave out for the army and for the animals with them. The king of Israel exclaimed, "Alas, the Father has called 3 kings together only to deliver us into the power of Moab." But Jehoshaphat asked, "Is there no prophet of the Father here, through whom we may inquire of the Father?" One of the servants of the king of Israel replied, "Elisha, son of Shaphat, who poured water on the hands of Elijah, is here." Jehoshaphat agreed, "He has the word of the Father." So the king of Israel, along with Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom, went down to Elisha. Elisha asked the king of Israel, "What do you want with me? Go to the prophets of your father and to the prophets of your mother." The king of Israel replied, "No, the Father has called these 3 kings together only to deliver us into the power of Moab." Then Elisha said, "The Father, the Lord of hosts, most high I am, whom I serve. Were it not that I respect Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, I should neither look at you nor notice you at all. Now get me a minstrel." When the minstrel played, the hand of the Father came upon Elijah, and he announced, "Thus says the Father, most high I am. Provide many catch basins in this waiting." For the Father says, "Though you will see neither wind nor rain, yet this wadi will be filled with water for you to drink, and for your livestock and pack animals. And since the Father does not consider this enough, he will also deliver Moab into your power. You shall destroy every fortified city and every choice city, fell every fruit tree, stop up all the springs, and ruin every fertile field with stones." In the morning at the time of the sacrifice, water came from the direction of Edom and filled the land. Meanwhile, all Moab had heard that the kings had come to war against them. Troops from the youngest on up were mobilized and stationed at the border. When they rose early that morning, the sun was shining across the water. The Moabites saw the water as red as blood and said, "This is blood. The kings have fought among themselves and killed one another. Quick to the spoils, Moab." But when they reached the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and attacked the Moabites, who fled from them. They ranged through the countryside, destroying Moab, leveling the cities, each one casting the stones onto every fertile field and filling it, stopping up every spring, felling every fruit tree until only the stones of Kir Hareseth remained. Then the slingers surrounded and attacked it. When he saw that the battle was going against him, the king of Moab took 700 swordsmen to break through to the king of Edom, but he failed. So he took his firstborn, who was to succeed him as king, and offered him as a burnt offering upon the wall. The wrath against Israel was so great that they gave up the siege and returned to their own land. Chapter 4. The widow's oil. A certain woman, the widow of one of the Gaal prophets, cried out to Elisha, "My husband, your servant, is dead. You know that he revered the Father, most high I am. Yet now his creditor has come to take my children into servitude." Elisha answered her, "What am I to do for you? Tell me what you have in this house." She replied, "The servant of yours has nothing in the house but a jug of oil." He said, "Go out, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, as many empty vessels as you can. Then come back and close the door on yourself and your children. Pour the oil into all the vessels, and as each is filled, set it aside." So she went out and she closed the door on herself and her children, and as they handed her the vessels, she would pour in the oil. When all the vessels were filled, filled, she said to her son, "Bring me another vessel." He answered, "There is none left," and the oil stopped. And she went and told the man of the Father, Most High I Am, who said, "Go, sell the oil to pay off your creditor. With what remains, you and your children can live." Elijah raises the Shunammite's son. One day Elisha came to Shunem, where there was a woman of influence who pressed him to dine with her. Afterward, whenever he passed by, he would stop there to dine. So she said to her husband, "I know that he is a holy man of the Father, Most High who I Am. Since he visits us often, let us arrange a little room on the roof and furnish it for him with a bed, table, chair, and lamp, so that when he comes to us he can stay there." One day Elisha arrived and stayed in the room overnight. Then he said to his servant Gehazi, "Call this Shunammite woman." He did so, and when she stood before Elisha, he told Gehazi, "Say to her, you have troubled yourself greatly for us. What can we do for you? Can we say a good word for you to the king or to the commander of the army?" She replied, "I am living among my own people." Later, Elisha asked, "What can we do for her?" Gehazi answered, "She has no son, and her husband is old." Elisha said, "Call her." He did so. And when she stood at the door, Elisha promised her, "This time next year you will bear a cradling, this time next year you will be cradling a baby son." She said, "My lord, you are a man of the Father Most High. Do not deceive your servant." Yet the woman conceived, and by the same time the following year she had given birth to a son, as Elisha had promised, and the child grew up healthy. One day the boy went out to his father among the reapers. He said to his father, my head, and his father said to the servant, "Carry him to his mother." The servant picked him up and carried him to his mother. He sat in her lap until noon and then died. She went upstairs and laid him on the bed of the man of the Father, Most High I Am. Closing the door on him, she went out and called to her husband, "Let me have one of the servants and a donkey. I must go quickly to the man of the Father, and I will be back." He asked, "Why are you going to him today? It is neither the new moon or the Sabbath." But she said, "It is all right." When the donkey was saddled, and she said to her servant, "Lead on. Do not stop my donkey unless I tell you." She kept going till she reached the man of the Father, Most High I Am, on Mount Carmel. When he saw her at a distance, the man of the Father said to his servant Gehazi, "There is the Shunammite. Hurry to meet her and ask her if everything is all right with her and with her husband and with the boy." "Everything is all right," she replied. But when she reached the man of the Father, Most High I Am, on the mountain, she clasped his feet. Gehazi came near to push her away, but the man of the Father said, "Let her alone. She is in bitter anguish. The Father hid it from me and did not let me know." She said, "Did I ask my Lord for a son? Did I not say, 'Do not mislead me'?" He said to Gehazi, "Get ready for a journey. Take my staff with you and be off. If you meet anyone, give no greeting, and if anyone greets you, do not answer. Lay my staff upon the boy." But the boy's mother cried out, "As the Father lives, Most High I Am lives, and as you yourself live, I will not release you." So he started back with her. Meanwhile, Gehazi had gone on ahead and had laid the staff upon the boy, but there was no sound, no response. He returned to meet Elisha and told him, "The boy has not awakened." When Elisha reached the house, he found the boy dead, lying on the bed. He went in and closed the door on them both and prayed to the Father Most High I Am. Then he lay upon the child on the bed, placing his mouth upon the child's mouth, his eyes upon the eyes of the child, and his hands upon his hands. As Elijah stretched himself over the child, the boy's flesh became warm. He arose, paced up and down the room, and then once more stretched himself over him, and the boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. Elisha summoned Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite." He called her, and she came to him, and Elisha said to her, "Take your son." She came in and fell at his feet in homage. Then she took her son and left. The poisoned stew. When Elisha returned to Gilgal, there was a famine in the land. Once, when the Gal prophets were seated before him, he said to a servant, "Put the large pot on and make some vegetable stew for the Gal prophets." Someone went out into the field to gather herbs and found a wild vine from which he picked a sackful of poisonous wild gourds. On his return, he cut them up into the pot of vegetable stew without anybody's knowing it. The stew was served, but when they began to eat it, they cried, "Man of the Father, there is death in the pot," and they could not eat it. He said, "Bring me some meal." He threw it into the pot and said, "Serve it to the people to eat," and there was no longer anything harmful in the pot.